It's time for Q&A in the Kitchen. It's a podcast and YouTube series where tattoo artists and a piercer talk about some of the more common questions those that collect tattoos and piercings and those that do them may have. Brought to you in part by the fabulous Skin Kitchen Tattoo and the Axiom Body Piercing Studio. Well, today we're going to be talking about you're not happy with the design or the tattoo or the piercing that you're, or the marking of the piercing that your artist has done and how to approach that with them. But until we get to that, let's talk about who's here today. We're going to start on this side because I'm trying to alternate now.
Oh, you're changing it up.
Over here on my left, your right, is Brent Starr, tattoo artist at the Skin Kitchen. I'm DaVo, body piercer and owner and operator of the Axiom Body Piercing Studio. And then to my right, your left, I guess, Jack Lowe of Skin Kitchen Tattoo. He owns and operates and tattoos and does a lot of fun stuff.
They didn't have any hairless cats, so I had to go with this. But hopefully by next episode they'll have some more.
We'll shave.
We'll just shave her. She'll be like this big.
I know. I couldn't get her in until like
when you pull her
3
head
days.
back. She looks like Lefty LePew.
Yeah, who's Lefty LePew?
Or what was it? The
Pepe Le Pew.
Pepe Le Pew.
Yeah, he got canceled
He
for
got
being a
canceled for
rapist.
being cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always chasing that cat.
No, he was misogynistic.
No, he was always mistaken.
No, he just wanted to do it.
Yeah, he was a little
He
gross.
was horny.
I think you're making my dog uncomfortable with all the
She's like,
adult
I
talk.
don't want to be all this reference stuff.
She's only a few months old.
Anyway, and then there's over here is Jimmy St. John, tattoo artist at the Skin Kitchen. So the premise on this is that, you know, either your tattoo artist is showing you the design or you've gotten tattooed and you're not happy about it, or if you've gotten a piercing and maybe you're not happy with the marking, or maybe they're marking the total wrong spot, or they pushed you into getting some jewelry that you don't like. How do you address that in a polite and productive manner?
By being polite
with your
and
artist?
adult. And just addressing it. Just say, hey man, like I'm not really crazy about this, or what about this right here? I don't understand it, or I don't really like how it's looking right there. Can there's something we can do? Don't come at them like, hey man, you fucked this up.
Yeah, that's not a good way to start any conversation, really. But yeah, I guess if it's hi, I'm Jack. If it's the design, if you're coming in, like the way it works here, you come in for a consult, we talk, get a good idea of what you want, and then we set up the tattoo date. When you come in, you look at the artwork, and it's almost expected, I guess, for you to have some input. I'm hoping that I can get us at very least 90% there. And if we have to kind of move a couple things around, or maybe, you've got this, a scar or something, so we'll omit or move, that's expected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you're not coming off as, off base or picky or, disrespectful, as long as you're not trying to be. So, I think most artists, unless they're just so fragile, are expecting, hey, what if we did, the crow more like here? That, your artist may go, yeah, that would work just as good there. And yeah, that's a great idea. Or, well, the reason I did it like this was because this, and then that would do this. Oh, okay, great. Boom. It's really can be that easy.
And do you think part of the problem is that sometimes the artist doesn't go on to explain why it should be that way?
Maybe.
And maybe you should go, why do you think that's going to work best?
Yeah. Everybody, has different amounts of weight or ability to, build a house, drive a car, have a third eye, to be able to kind of take something and put it in and come out with something different. And so, it depends on the person. And when you get that mix of a person that has zero third eye and just is awkward and kind of has an overwhelming or dominant personality on the artist side, that can come off as maybe abrasive, disrespectful, just, kind of challenging. But as an artist, you have to realize there's every kind of person out there, and you have to give them the benefit of the doubt that they're not trying to be a jerk. They're out of their element. They're uncomfortable. They're nervous. There's all this going on. It's not personal. So don't throw fuel on the fire. Try to be understanding, knowing all of that, and try to get to the root of the problem. Show that, hey, we're on the same team. I gain nothing by you being unhappy.
No.
I didn't go into this trying to have anything, but you leave the store going, man, they did a great job. I'm going to tell everybody that asked, go there. So, there's understanding on both sides that I think need to happen, and not look at the other person as the enemy. You're wearing the same jersey, you're going for the same goal, and don't make you're not going to get better work or leave with anything more or more satisfied if you make an enemy out of your artist.
Yeah, you're on the same team. You're not opposing clients or opposing teams.
I have to watch it sometimes. I know when customers come in and want to change stuff, I don't mind that at all. I have to catch myself when they're like, I don't want to hurt your feelings, and they beat around the bush. And after 20 minutes, I'm like, it's cool, man. Just tell me what you don't like so we can fix it. Just, what I mean?
That's part of the...
Don't spend an hour telling me how sorry you are and you don't want to be offensive. Just tell me what you don't like so I can fix it, man.
Yeah.
I have a phrase that I like to use, that one is the long way around the barn.
Yeah.
It's we all have somebody in our life that usually they're kind of a hustler. They might have a little bit of dubious background that will come to you, and instead of asking, hey, can I borrow a rake, it'll start off with, dude, I got this deal for you, man.
Yeah.
I'm going to make you a lot of money. And, do you hear about what's in, just on and on and on and on.
Yeah. Just
when
ask me
all
what you
they have
want.
to do is just come out and say, I need your rake. Can I borrow it?
Right.
Yeah.
And I appreciate the fact that they don't want to hurt my feelings or, offend me or whatever. I appreciate that. I really do.
You don't have to
I
worry
can't
about
fix
that.
what's wrong until you tell me what's wrong.
Yeah, I try to
just tell me.
Yeah, I try to make a point of, especially if I can tell the person is a little bit particular, maybe about this design, and there are important things, but they don't want to come off as a dick, so they don't want to seem overbearing, which is great. That's great awareness to have, but don't suffer the overall design and your overall desire because of it, because then you're never going to be completely happy with the design.
How much do you think at times this could be a situation where they're afraid if they tell you, hey, I want to add this and this and this, that the price is going to inflate and they're not going to be able to afford it?
Yeah, I wonder.
I don't know.
I don't typically get that feeling from my clients.
Yeah, me either.
I'm sure that, that maybe happened. I don't...
Unless it's a major, because we price by time.
That's why I just wonder if they go, well, I want to add this, and I don't know how much that's going to cost.
And I
me.
never have, it's that you bring it up, I had never really thought of this, but I really have, man, out of 25 consults, I might have one person even ask how much.
Yeah.
Rare.
So I don't get that hustler trying to take advantage vibe from my clients at all, because I think those people go for the quick score. I mean, there's sometimes where my books get full and it might be months before just the consult, and then it might be 5 months after that you're able to, and I think people that are looking that kind of do that kind of hustle aren't willing to wait that long to see if they can pull it off.
But they're also the same people that'll ask, well, how much without color? How much?
Yeah, that doesn't
I
happen.
haven't had that question in years.
Yeah, but I mean, I see it at the front desk.
Yeah.
I mean, Jessica probably attests to this.
Yeah, I would.
It's an ongoing thing. It's like, well, what if I just do block lettering instead of cursive? That kind of mentality.
I guess that's true, because they're going to ask those questions probably when they're on the phone setting things up, and have already decided, okay, I'm okay with that. I'm going to go and get the consult and hopefully get tattooed. So that, you're probably more right than I can see from my perspective.
Because we always have it's like talking to a contractor when they're working on your house. We always have that fear that if you say, hey, can we just move that up a quarter of an inch?
Yeah,
that
like
suddenly you're going to get billed that's like $8,000.
And that's the same thing with tattooing. It's like, we can do anything if you were willing to pay for it.
Exactly.
I've had shops built and things like that, and it's don't ask, can we necessarily, just tell me what you want. Can we? Absolutely. I build buildings. You tell me how you want the building, of course I can, but it's going to cost.
It'll take time.
Yeah, so don't, it's not can you, say, hey, I want it like this, or hey, would it change things substantially as far as how long this is going to take if we did this? Not how much would it be if, because really I don't know.
Yeah, it's more of a time thing.
I've never done that before.
And we're not trying to think about it from like a money perspective so much as a time perspective.
Because that diminishes work every time,
Yeah.
When
And I wonder how much of this, I talked about this during our break, because we film all these. We film 3 at a time, so we have a little bit of like sit around and play around and then come back. But I was talking about how much of this may date back to this idea prejudiced of the old carny tattoo artists and that kind of sleazy bad part of town that you're supposed to haggle with your artists, and they're all out to get you and they're going to gouge you on the price if they can, and all this other nonsense.
We'll throw in 2 goats and we'll do it.
I would imagine you get a lot more of that with like the older crowd that still lived in that time where it was looked at as, it's like when you go to Mexico, you're always told don't pay what they ask. Always haggle, always haggle. And I think that was kind of a mentality with a lot of people, because it got out that, hey man, those guys just sit on their ass most of the time. They're not busy. There's 2 shops in town, and so you can usually get it cheaper, but it's not. It's not like that anymore.
And I explained this to somebody a while back who was trying to do that to me, like, oh, you're just sitting here doing nothing, why don't you just take $10 off? And I'm like, well, it's going to cost me just as much money, and I'd rather not make your $50 on something I normally charge $100 on, because it cuts too far into my profit to make it worth my time.
Yeah, or simply say, because you have to draw the line somewhere, and I own the place.
Yeah.
Well, we used to run into it more anywhere else when we were doing Sturgis. Because you had so many tattoo shops, so many people hustling, so many people doing it, and such a large crowd for such a short period of time, you ran into that a little more. Like, well, man, I want this tattoo, and you said like $200, but like, what would it take for you to do it like $150? Like, I'll shrink it a little bit, or like do it black and gray instead of color, or like whatever. You hustle with them.
And it's because you look hungry. You're chasing them. You're setting up going, hey, look at me.
Exactly.
So they're going, all right, you need me more than I need you,
but
so I'm going to take
it's a different
advantage.
Situation.
Yeah, but here you found me.
And you've also got to keep in mind that if you come up with this idea that's going to add to it, maybe add a little bit of time, if the artist is like, yeah, that's going to make it a much better tattoo, they're probably going to be more likely to go, I'll put in a little extra time, or why don't we break this into 2? What can you afford? And
we'll figure out a way to work it out. Exactly.
Because it's going to make you happier, and it's going to make a better piece of art.
When I started out, I had tons of customers who was like, man, I really want a sleeve, but I only got this much money.
Yeah.
Well, okay, let's figure out what you want. Let's lay it out. Once we get it laid out, for that much money, I can get this lined out and start this or whatever. And you can break up sessions when you saved up some more money, and we can continue to work on this.
Yeah.
And we know what's to expect, so it's laid out correctly. Yeah. It's not a hodgepodge of just sticking stickers on stuff.
Yeah.
And I'll work. Most tattoo artists will work with you.
Yeah.
If you tell them up front. But if you come across seedy, like trying to get a deal or a break, and you don't let them know, well, you're in a situation where you don't have a lot of money or whatever, like. If they feel like you're trying to take advantage of, like, or carny them, they're not going to be very responsive to you, man, because they're not. You're not looking to be taken advantage of.
If they mention something like, "You pay me in advance," don't.
No,
don't ever pay for it. Yeah,
that's just my opinion. There may be good arguments against that, which I'm
never works out
very willing to listen to, but. A deposit is one thing, to show that you're serious and to hold that time and to not waste the artist's time. A small deposit, absolutely.
Right.
But for them to require you to pay for the entire tattoo and beforehand, absolutely is a red flag in my opinion from what I've seen.
Me as well.
I've got to say, like, I've seen it where the client has offered to pay up full price beforehand, and that didn't go well.
And maybe is that
for whatever reason? I don't know.
Do you think it's so they're locked into that price no matter what? If it takes longer, then hey, I already paid you for this.
I think
maybe
so. Maybe
it might be, but it
they're
might be
taking
the fact
on a lot
they're
of
afraid
risk.
they'll spend that money.
I think
that's usually
now,
the
and
case.
that's since like we do something here that I thought was really cool. We have gift cards. So like if you don't have the money right away, but you're working towards it and you want to save it and you'll spend it, you can't squirrel it away. Come in and like get a gift card that we have here, and you can add money to it.
Yeah.
As you get like a $50 a week or whatever, it's like tattoo layaway almost.
Yeah.
And once you build up, like, well, I got like $2,500 on my card now. Well, you can come in and get that $2,500 tattoo you wanted.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you didn't have to go through those painful trying to save it and squirrel it away and not touch it, and it's already out of sight, out of mind.
And you're not chopping your tattoo into these tiny little bits, stretching it out over this long period, and more than likely you're going to get just not as cohesive and as it's just not going to look
artists
as good.
grow. They grow and they change. So like, you know, even if the same artist did something, you started this sleeve in 2000 and it's 2022 before you get to finish it.
It might as well
their
be
work
almost
has
a different
progressed
artist.
and changed. Yeah, it's a whole nother ball of wax. That artist has changed so much in that time that it's hard to make it look cohesive now. You know what I mean?
And it's my experience with managing the short period of time I managed tattoo artists. There was one that was notorious for doing that nonsense. I'll give you this great deal, but you got to pay me all of it up front.
Yeah, that's a red flag.
And I'm telling you, what it came down to is every time that person would come back, he'd have another person that
blow them off, and
because that money was already
there's
spent.
no incentive
for it.
There's no incentive at all for them to give you any time at all if that's all they're there for is money. They've already gotten what they need. Why would they waste their time on something
they're working for nothing?
Exactly.
Yeah, but they're not. They've already been paid for it, but they can't grasp that.
But
that's what the problem is. You know?
They already ate their carrot.
Yeah. I don't need to buy the cow. I got the milk.
Yeah. It does amaze me because we offer when you set up an appointment, you can either pay the full amount or you can pay just the deposit
for the piercing.
Yeah. And there's a large majority of people that just like, hey, I can just pay it all now and be done with it, or now that I've paid it, I'm locked in and I'm not gonna.
Yeah, because things happen. I have the money now. What if? And I just want to make sure. And so it probably does a lot of times come out of consideration maybe for the artist, and that's why people are so willing to do it.
Right.
But you're not being a better person. You're not.
No.
It doesn't do you any good.
No.
It's only exposing you to getting ripped off.
Yeah,
and
I can see as a piercing doing it because the time.
Yeah,
it's
a smaller amount of money and
ahead of time for a 5-hour tattoo.
Well, it doesn't take 5 sittings to finish.
Right, exactly. That's what I meant.
It depends. We'll get into that because that's going to be our next episode of talking about projects.
Yeah.
But yeah, it can get.
But
to
generally,
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Now let's talk about one of the rare occasions that occasionally happens is where they come in to get a tattoo or a piercing, because this happens really common with piercings, and they ask for something or you put the design on them and they don't say a word about it, but it is the wrong tattoo. That you should definitely say something.
Absolutely. Just speak up and say, hey man, this is great, but it's not really what we talked about or whatever,
Yeah, I mean, most artists that I've known, we're pretty down to earth, even though we don't look like it. Yeah. I mean, we make mistakes. We're human beings. A lot of artists are really busy, and although your design is unique, it has elements maybe that other clients they have involved in, and could be, at first glance the same.
Yeah.
So if the planets are aligned just right, it could be that they got the wrong design out of their iPad or whatever, prepared for you.
Happened to me a few months back.
Yeah, it does.
I had a customer. They shared the same name.
Yeah.
They were both getting mandalas.
Yeah.
And I was glancing over it at night when I draw, and I saw the first, the name that matched, and it's a mandala, so it must be them. I drew it.
Yeah.
And it was the one 3 or 4 pages down from that had a couple little small elements that were different in it. And I changed it and I fixed it, but I felt like an ass.
Yeah.
When my customer came in, I was like, that's really pretty, but that's not what
and I know that's got to
like, oh, man.
And I know, people don't want to embarrass the artist, and they're like I said, they're kind of uncomfortable and out of their element, and this is weird if it's their first time. So, it is kind of a nutty time, and there's a lot going on, but that, in my opinion, is the responsibility somewhat of the artist to make them feel comfortable, as so they can speak up and realize that even some people just can't.
I know.
So it's a balance. Like there's nobody to blame in the situation.
Right.
It's just there needs to be that understanding on both sides. So
usually when that happens with piercing, it's because they've looked it up on the internet and they've gotten the wrong name.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I could.
Well, y'all change names on stuff so
I don't.
much.
I
have nothing to do with it.
You not particularly, but just over the years, like since I pierced years ago and y'all piercing now, some of the stuff y'all pierce, and I'm like, oh, that's so. Oh no, it's a this. Well, okay, I didn't know it changed names. Like whatever, it's whatever it is.
It's like, and that's why I always say, and I usually say this in videos that I do about piercings that are often misnamed,
Right?
Because I know the person coming in isn't doing it because they want to be a jerk. They're doing it because they think this is the proper information. Is point. Use your finger. Point to what you want.
Yeah. Don't allow name.
But I've gotten to the point where I've started doing a piercing and even gone as far as do the piercing and then had the client go, that's not what I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, you asked for this. That's what that is. And I redid the other one for free, but I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, speak up.
Got to use your words.
Don't always. I mean, we love it when you trust us.
Yeah,
that's one of the reasons you come to us is because you trust us as artists. But the reality is this is a team effort.
Yeah.
If you want a lip piercing and I start marking your ear, you need to say something.
You need to say something. And you need to look at the mark or look at the stencil and actually look at it.
Yes.
Don't just go, it looks good.
Check the spelling. Check the thing, all the important, the dates, see what it is.
It's a compliment, but at the same time, it can be really annoying when people say, I trust you, and then you do it, and then 20 minutes later, they're calling you up going, that's not what I wanted.
Well, I mean, we're human.
It's like, well, you don't trust, maybe you trust me a little too much.
And most artists and piercers that I know have fairly thick skins. I mean,
you
kind of have to.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're not going to hurt our feelings.
Yeah, and I try to physically say that, when I'm showing a new client artwork that, they haven't seen or ready to go. I'm like, and I see they're just, they're really looking at it. I'll say, just speak your mind. I dare you to try to offend me about the drawing. I know this isn't the only way, and, I'm trying to get there. Tell me how.
Yeah.
So really, and there are artists out there that are dicks, but if you've gotten that far with an asshole and you haven't realized it yet, you need to turn up your radar, man. But yeah, it's.
If you were a fly on the wall in here sometimes and heard how we talk to each other, just messing around and joking, you'd probably think, "Geez, are these guys even friends?" Sometimes,
Yeah,
we're pretty thick-skinned, man. We take a lot on the chin and just laugh it off and keep going. It's not.
Yeah, there's not a big ego. I mean, once you put this big ego into what you're doing, you don't go anywhere with it. You've convinced yourself that the way you're doing it is absolutely perfect, and anybody else that sees it different is wrong.
You've already beaten yourself.
Then you're screwed.
Yeah.
Growth.
So if you're going to a good, reputable artist who does consistent good work, they're used to that, man. And they're almost, I mean, I appreciate it. There's times, where a client says, hey, what about this? And I'm like, that's killer.
Awesome idea.
Yeah. Like, that was a great idea, man. And I'll let them know, throughout the process, like, man, I'm so glad that you spoke up because wow, that really is cool. And but there's those times when they'll say something and be like, oh God, how do I tell them that is the worst idea? But
not every idea we have is great. Like, we spitball a lot.
I guess they have to be thick-skinned at the same time.
Yeah,
exactly.
There are those people that, they've gone on the date and they don't have the balls or strength, I guess, of character to go, this isn't working and I'm not coming back. They will sit there the whole time and then ghost them because
like, you're a nice person,
so
but we're not.
fearful of that confrontation.
I don't want to face that uncomfortableness. Well, it's not. It's part of the process.
Yeah, it's part of being human, man. It's part of getting out there and participating.
Yeah, and especially in the tattoo process, because I can only see inside your brain. Like, I can't. At all. Just the sounds that you make with your face is the only thing that's given me an idea of what you want and what you can dig up on Pinterest.
Yeah, and this is a team effort.
Which is great. I mean, the more you can inundate me with reference files. I mean, if it's a picture this big and you like this much of it, I don't care. Let me see. Because that tells me something without you having to say.
And there's opposite of that. Don't come in with a dude with a bodysuit with one photo of the front of him. I want his ribs, his back, his sleeves. I can't see any of that, dude. Can you? Like,
and if you really look, it's a lot of it is a smudge and is a blur, and you're putting the artist at a weird
situation to try to you can't create.
You got to guess.
I'm making it up.
More data is better, as long as you know that the data that you're giving your artist isn't like too
misleading
much stuff or misleading.
And at the same point, giving additional feed. If you're not getting the feedback from your artist, like you ask a question and they go, yeah, that's just the way it needs to be. Maybe you need to rephrase that question and ask it again, because that's part of giving out that information. It's part of that reference that they need.
Yeah.
So sometimes asking that question,
because the more comfortable you are, or at least for me, the more comfortable I know what that person wants and what they want that final result to be, the better that tattoo is going to turn out. The easier and just the more flow. It probably even goes quicker because you and you're on the same page. The more wishy-washy and kind of, well, I don't want to say this and sound stupid. You're not going to sound stupid.
No.
Yeah.
Like you shouldn't be in front of an artist that would make you feel stupid for asking a question because it's the first time they heard it.
Yeah.
That means that they probably aren't ready for you yet.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing you can say that's going to make me think, man, you're stupid. No. I've heard it
all before.
A bunch.
I say stupid stuff all
I don't
the
expect
time.
you, and I don't expect you to know these questions you ask. Why would you? I would ask you questions of what you do for a living and sound completely stupid to some people because it's so obvious. Well, how would I know?
Yeah.
It's the same thing with you. You have there's no reason why I should come back expecting you to know what you think should be an obvious question and is to me, but it's not to you.
And if you feel that way, you're in the wrong studio.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because the person is obviously
match.
not going to do what you want them to do.
Yeah, and that's not your fault,
man.
their fault. They're just you're not able to convey what you want
Some
to
teams
them.
don't work out.
And there's an artist out there that will. And it's not that they don't want to, that's the job. I mean, we have to dig around in your head and ask the right questions to check the boxes off we need to create what you want.
And it's weird. It's kind of like a relationship in some ways that sometimes the chemistry isn't there, where there's just that natural
it's a team.
Repulsion,
rapport, where you're
like magnets.
And it kind of goes the opposite way where there's just not really, that kind of dynamic, in which case, you didn't find your studio or your artist, you
didn't find your mate. Not every team works out. Like you can put the dream team together and be a dream, or you can take the best athletes out of every, on every team and put them together and make it a dream team and they not be cohesive.
I didn't follow that at all.
Well, like back on the basketball, when we did the Olympics, when they put Jordan and all those guys and we made a dream team, the best basketball players in the world.
Yeah.
And some of them clicked and they worked well together.
Oh.
Sometimes they've done that and it didn't work well because they weren't cohesive.
So the artist and the client,
it's a team effort. Yeah.
Team.
Yeah, you have to work together.
It's not your fault. It's me, not you. No.
We've all seen sports ball teams that have massive talent on them
and do horrible.
And just do horrible because they don't know how to coach them.
Yeah, they just don't communicate.
It's got to be a good effort. It's got to be a good matchup, like a relationship.
And understanding that, hey, I know he wants to do what I need him to do because he wants to win. Yeah. I mean, he's not trying to fuck me,
right?
Because it fucks him.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to give him that he's trying.
Yeah.
I just need to try to learn that language and get as much out of it as I can.
Right. You got to work together, man.
Yeah.
Just one of the most common complaints I get from people that have had work done that they're unhappy with is how it was executed.
Mm-hmm.
Like they said, I looked at the drawing was incredible. And like I have a friend who has like an upper arm piece and she didn't really study the person who was doing its art enough, I think. But she was thinking something was going to be black and gray and very, very not photorealistic, but on that edge. And what she ended up with was a very, very dark tattoo of a woman.
Mm-hmm.
And that's that person's style.
Right.
But she didn't know how to communicate how she wanted it to be executed.
Reference.
Right. Yes.
Go online, look around, and find stuff that's not what you want, but it has the look you want. It has the line weight you want. It has the color or the black and gray depth
style
that you're looking for. And that answers so many questions for the artist and helps him or her lock in on what you want and gets you closer. So that's why I say I tell people, you can't bring me too much. I dare you to bring me too much reference.
And
you
how
can't.
often do you run into where, there's all the time that I don't know the word for something, like what something's called.
Yeah.
Like for, example,
Like I
I
said,
had a client
point.
come in, they wanted a fine line tattoo. Define fine line tattoo because I think, from this person to that person, there's going to be a variance of, what they, declare as fine line.
Yep.
And without that picture or that reference, we don't really, know exactly what you mean by fine line. And then sometimes you might have the wrong idea altogether, like the wrong name for the style or whatever.
Right.
Again, pictures.
If we were writing a story, you would show me the words that you want, or say, I want a word that means this.
Yeah.
It's so you coming in and going, I want a tattoo. I want it to look overall like this. So I'll look at it and go, okay, no outline at all. So they don't want a heavy outline. Cool. The black and gray is done in this scale. It's, it's really pretty light. They're pretty tan. So that we'll have to talk about that a little bit. And, they want it here. So I know what road they want to go down.
Right.
What style overall. Boom. That answers a ton of questions just from a photo. And there'll be times where a client will bring me in a ton of photos and they're so completely different.
Oh, yeah.
Like one is just like Americana and one is complete Jack Rudy photorealism dope.
Yeah.
And so I have a question.
That's where we have a question.
So it's
Where
easy.
do we wanna
What do
lean
you
to?
like? What is it about this photo you like?
Yes.
Oh, I just like where it is, the way it's on the body. Oh, okay. Makes sense. So you like, what do you like about this one? Oh, I just like how it's just boom. It's just jumping, like I like the lines in it. Okay. Now it makes sense.
Yes.
So it's on the artist side to ask the questions you need. And it's on the client side to show and tell me what you want so we can get to it.
Tell me
and
what you like
reference,
about those pictures.
Since we're talking photos, a reference, just like a story, words would be more helpful than a picture. We're talking art here. Show me pictures of just loosely what you want. You want a dragon? Dude, if it takes you 50 dragons to show me the wings, the claws, the face, the eyes, the nose, everything.
Yeah, that's fine.
Great.
No problem.
That's fine. Because at the end, you're going to go, nailed it.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, that is number one priority for me.
Yeah.
You
can build a better idea of what they want from all those references.
Exactly.
It's not going to be a hassle for us because.
Yeah.
And on the other side, though, don't forget, there are people that go, I want a dragon just however you want.
No.
Yeah.
I love it. I love that. And I didn't before, and not maybe with every client, but all you have to do in that situation is go,
medieval or
you want color or black and gray? Oh, I want color. Okay, boom. Now that, 90,000 questions, don't even have to ask because now we're here. And you can chop them down with asking the right questions to the point where they tell you exactly what they want.
Medieval or Asian.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a game of 20 questions.
And sometimes they'll go, don't care. Go, okay, cool.
Yeah, and it's either way or a mix.
Yeah. Are you going to add to this later?
It's like I don't know if you guys ever done this as an artist, but you get together with a bunch of other artists that can't do anything but fucking create art because they think they're special. And you throw a bunch of words in a hat or something, and you grab a word, and coffee cup. Okay, you got 20 minutes to draw a coffee cup. Just to get your mind running and rocking. Right. I look at the like that. When those people come in, and it's fun for them too. I went into the artist and I just told them coffee cup.
Yep.
And I said, I want there.
Nice.
From here to here. That's fun for them, and it's a neat story, and really they don't give a fuck what it looks like.
Right.
At all. That's the fun part.
Yeah, they want your rendition of it.
That's the exciting thing
That's
is
fun.
that I don't want what I can see. I want what we can see.
Yeah.
And you have to embrace that and take them for, real.
Yeah.
And because that's really what they want, or they wouldn't be asking. And I wasn't always in that way of thinking with clients coming out. I'm like, no, I'm not falling for that.
Yeah.
No, it's not. You're falling for it. That's a gift. Yeah. Like there's somebody who wants to have some actual fun. There's actually a piece of skin that doesn't give a fuck what you do on it, really. That's our dream.
Once
because
you have that relationship with that client.
That's the closest thing to being able to tattoo all by yourself without anybody else around.
It's awesome.
But
it takes a while to build that.
And everybody usually falls right in there. And it's our job to figure out who they are, and it's their job to do the best they can in showing us what they want.
Yeah. Well said.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you think part of this is the fact that when you take art and you try to apply terms to it, they're marketing terms or they're technique terms? and they're very broad.
Yeah.
And they vary and they change and evolve over time.
Yep.
Because let's face it, Americana means different than it did 20 years ago.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Fine line used to mean basically Japanese style when I first started getting tattooed. It's done in that fine line
I've never heard
style.
that. That's always been a bold.
That was everybody I knew that did fine line.
Fine line was
that
Jack
was
Rudy,
their-
like portraits and very minuscule lines.
I think it's
Bring
a very
me a
broad,
picture.
But that's the thing.
Yeah.
The
Yes.
labels
Solves
mess
all
it
of it.
up. What you're looking for is, man, it's like you're saying, it's not about the labels of what is what. It's you're creating art. So it's a team effort. When you come in and you give me an idea, we got to work together to get your vision out as the art. There is no wrong or right. It's art.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you can't come at it like with labels and it has to be this way or it has to be way. And I think that's what happens a lot of times. A lot of customers that aren't artistic, they're trying to like keep that reality hold on it. Like it's got to be this label. It's got to be that way. It's got to be. There's no right or wrong way, man. You just got to relax. It's art, and let's see if we come up with something that
play
you
with
dig and
You
how
need
it
a
looks.
little mushy squishy. You know, it's like
It's like
you want to get a custom car made. You finally made it. You're gonna treat yourself, and you go in and you're like, yeah, man, I want a freaking hot rod, and I want it to be super fast, but I don't want it electric, and I don't want it to burn gas, or but I want the
it
thing
Fred
fast.
Flintstone style.
you want
And
horsepower from horses.
well, see, in this world that you're trying to explore, it's all about the horsepower.
Yep.
It's all about what you don't want.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
Right.
You're just kind of misinformed about how this works, what this process is. It would be fun. It would be great if that's how this worked and we were able to do what you've fantasized it being, but it isn't.
It runs on imagination.
Yeah, and some people
Good luck.
will say, well, you're crazy and don't know what you're talking about. I know more than you about what you do, and I'm going to go tell everyone that you don't know nothing, and I'm going to go find someone who does, that we can talk about how little you know.
Whatever. Have fun.
That's okay. I still won't know.
Yeah, exactly. So,
So in other words, critics.
exactly. Some people that just know that their opinion
Is right.
is going to crush you. What I'm thinking in my head, I just ruined your day, and okay, you got me.
You got me.
Go, but that's them. And on our side of things, being an artist, we've got to realize that and understand that some people are just looking for that. That is their satisfaction, that they got the shit on you and waste your time.
Yeah.
And it's not the most of the clientele's fault.
No.
And they shouldn't have to pay for that.
No.
Right.
There's so
and we need to remember that.
few and far between for that kind of character.
Yes.
to come around.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everything has a bad apple in it.
Misery
Everything.
exists.
So, not everybody's gonna be perfect, but you can't treat everybody like that one bad apple.
No.
Right.
We
Yeah.
should
not
probably
cool.
talk a little bit about people that change their minds 70,
Yeah.
80 times
That's-
during the process.
That indecisive nature kind of.
It goes back to some people
you
shouldn't be
don't
tattooed.
really
Yeah.
want this.
Yeah, it sucks the energy out of the piece for me.
Me too.
It's
know,
pretty hard to deal with.
If
If you haven't picked a design, a location, at least those two things,
yeah.
you
The
shouldn't be
basics.
setting up an appointment.
No.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Unless those are etched in stone.
Yep.
With piercing, there's flexibility because we're always constantly changing and
'Cause,
adapting
anatomy.
to your anatomy
Right.
Yeah.
and what type of jewelry we use, which can make a
Yeah.
tremendous difference in
If-
how that piercing looks with other piercings or
Right.
et cetera.
Yeah.
If you want a portrait of your dog and you want to do it on your shoulder, but by the time you get there, you're thinking, well, maybe my forearm because I can see it better, blah, blah. That's fine.
Yeah.
But if you I want a dog portrait and I don't know where I want it somewhere on my body, no problem. But when you come in and you say, I want a dog portrait, we can put it on my shoulder. And then when you get here, you go, I want a new school ship with fighting an octopus.
It's going to take time. To
What? That's not even in the realm of a dog portrait anymore. Like you've completely changed your direction and what you're doing.
And how long are you going to want the ship, and how much time is worth me putting into it,
Right.
knowing that it's a
It could change
very
by the time
good
I'm done with it.
possibility
That's the big
that
question.
you're going to trash
Yeah.
it.
Right.
That's the question we have in our minds is like, oh
Yeah.
no. So how long is this going to last? You
Right.
know,
And it
before
puts
the
you in-
ideas changed.
And it puts you in that position where you're wondering whether or not 2 minutes or 2 months from now they're going to come back and go, I'm totally dissatisfied with this. You screwed it up.
Right.
This is not what I wanted. Blah, 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 blah,
I don't
blah.
want to ship anymore with an octopus. Now I want like a spaceship with a moon man.
Yeah,
Like, well,
you're putting the artist in you in a bad spot, because now you've put doubt in the artist on how much time they're willing to give this piece, because obviously it doesn't mean that much, because it seemed like you really dug the other idea I put 14 hours into drawing and coming up with, and now that's just poof, it's gone. None of that anymore. And whatever, sorry, I guess, but anyway,
my mind, sorry.
Now I want this. Well, on the artist side, it's like, so another 14 hours wasted, or do I just draw it out and wait for them to change their mind? So you're not going to get the piece that you want because you don't even know what you want. No. So you're not going to be happy no matter, like truly love it, no matter what the artist comes up with, because you never were in love with the idea.
And the artist is less involved or less dedicated to it, because every time you change it, a little bit comes out. A little bit comes out.
Well, there's less time.
It's a slow death.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're not putting the detail and love into every piece. It's like the copy of the copy thing.
Right. And if you don't know what you want, and this happens,
that's fine.
No, I'll get people that come in for a consultation, and that's what it is. They don't know what they want. They have a lot of questions, and they kind of have some ideas, but they don't know if it works or how it works or what to do. How long does it take? That's totally fine.
Yeah.
That's great. I don't mind sitting with somebody for a half hour, answering questions and saying, if you have any more, feel free to come by.
And it usually doesn't even take that long, like a half hour. Sometimes, like I had one not too long ago for a back. I like this. Do what you want. And that was a little broad for me for a whole back. So I was like, okay, so before we sit down and start this, let me pick your brain again just a little bit more. And we sat down for like maybe 5-10 minutes. Yeah. And I was like, what do you like about this? Oh, I would like the way this dove, is lined. Yep. I like the way these clouds look like, cotton balls. And okay, cool. Got that. Bam. Off to the races.
And that improved the quality and the final outcome, because you're confident, you're comfortable, you got this, you're going to make them happy, you're excited to make them happy, and it flows.
You know what they're looking for.
Yeah.
You can do it.
Now, a common thing with people that get their first tattoo is they come up with that initial design. Then they start talking to their friends, and they start thinking about it, because that appointment's 2 months from now. And then they've come up with another design.
That's why you don't send.
They've come home with another design and another design, and it's adding on to this and that and that. As a client, what you need to figure out is, now, is this a change of that original idea that I wanted?
No, it's just other
tattoos. And if I do still want that original idea, are these just other tattoos that maybe I'm thinking about getting done in the future? Because that's really probably what's going on.
Yes.
That, or, everybody has that fantastic idea that you haven't thought about that you're going to thank me for, and I'm going to throw it in there. And if you don't put it in there, I'm going to be my feelings are going to be hurt, because that's a good idea. And then, that happens over and over and over. And then you bring it to your artist like, hey, can you take care of this? No. Is this, whose tattoo is it? Is it yours, or is it Francis and Joe's and Bob's and Galen's? Let's make it our tattoo.
That raises the question, like, are your friends, is your friend or that input, whoever it is in your life, are they really your friend?
I mean, there are some cases with like family members where, like, you're doing a family tree style tattoo, and that you want to have your kids have a little bit of input on what they want, and that kind of stuff
fine.
is
but
fine.
You do that before you come in.
Exactly.
You don't give me your idea and then put it in front of the jury and have all of them put in input and then come back and go, but
a tattoo does not take a village.
That's why I do not send artwork before the final before the appointment.
I had a client come in with her friend to do a consult, and the friend was putting in quite a bit of input, for somebody not getting a tattoo.
Right.
Which was kind of a flag, but whatever, I got the information I needed, and I thought, okay, cool.
She watches Miami Ink all the time.
Well, fast forward to we do the tattoo day of, and, okay, well, I want to change this, and that. And then that was kind of more the friend, kind of putting her input, which is fine. You know, I was geared to change everything up, you know, just to, you know, move this around, move that around, make it work. And it did. And, you know, fast forward a little bit more time, she's no longer her friend, no longer in her life. And I'm like, okay, well, I hope that decision right there wasn't a poor choice, listening to somebody that, you know, wasn't going to be around forever.
Exactly.
I see it a lot more in couples.
Yeah, couples.
Like a dude's got a name.
Yes.
He's cool with it, but it's an ex or whatever. The wife or girlfriend, the new girlfriend, is not cool with it. She wants it gone. So he's like, okay, I'll appease you. I'll get it gone. I'm thinking like a koi fish or something. And she's just like, I'm thinking a whole sleeve with a dragon and a blah, 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 blah. Like, I hear you, but like, what do you want, man? Because if this lady leaves you tomorrow, do you want the dragon that she's talking about, or do you want the koi fish you said you wanted?
And see that's and maybe you've made some poor life choices, because because I'm guessing you got the first person's name on there because they pushed you into it.
Right.
And now you're letting another person mark you, and then what? The next one's going to be mad because they'll find out eventually that koi fish
is their idea.
It's
not my fault.
Right.
No,
this is going to keep going.
No relationship lasts longer than a tattoo.
No. And that's what happens. Like, I've had guys come in and we do a whole back piece to cover up a name on, you know, across the shoulders. And we're working on it, and they're kind of like, you know, oh, it's looking cool, blah, blah, blah. You can tell they're really not into it. And it's like, what did you want? I just wanted to kind of cover the name up, but like, I didn't want a whole back piece. Well, your wife talked you into saying you wanted a whole back piece. And now that we've almost got the back piece done, once the actual cover up's gone and done, whether the rest of it's finished or not, you don't see them. They're gone. Because all they wanted was the name change so they would shut up. That's all they wanted. You know, this big grand vision of the pagoda and the geisha girls and the tigers and that's what the wife wanted.
Moral of the story is, the more opinions you put into which direction you're going to travel, the more off course you're going to get.
Absolutely.
And you're going to be on that island with no one else to blame but you.
Spoken very well.
Yes.
And
So
you're gonna have a tattoo that's kind of like the Cadillac from the Johnny Cash song.
Yeah, we took apart home every year.
Right.
For years.
It's gonna look goofy.
What is it? It's 6'7", 6'8".
and it's not even going to be your tattoo anymore. You're not getting what you want anymore.
Yeah, it'll be a Cadillac.
That's what they wanted.
Or a tattoo, but it ain't going to be what you wanted.
Yeah,
it's your idea, but what other people allowed you or thought, or what they thought you should get involved in it. And what does that matter? They might not be your friend in 40 years or days. You know, this isn't about them. If you're getting a tattoo so you can be better accepted in a group, you're not going to be happy no matter what it is.
Nope.
Tattooing is one of the most
personal thing.
Yeah, it's a personal thing, and not to sound bad, but like, it's one of the most selfish. Personal
it should be.
Thing. It should be. It's getting something that you want because you want it, and you're going to be comfortable with it, and you want to look at it. And everybody else that doesn't get it or doesn't like it or doesn't understand it, it's not for them.
Yeah.
It's for you.
I'm gonna listen to this guy's opinion more than I'm gonna listen to yours, because he's gonna be there till I fucking die.
Right.
This comes before anyone's opinion. It comes before anything.
Yeah.
So if your thought is you need to take my opinion over your body, then it's not even worth us talking. Just go.
Yeah.
You know, you're not even in the same universe to understand why what you're saying is stupid.
Right.
You know? But usually it doesn't go like that.
No, but I mean, just be aware of it.
Yeah,
just be aware of it. If
man?
If you think you look good in black T-shirts and you want to wear black T-shirts, wear black T-shirts.
Yeah.
Just because your friend says, "I think you'd look good in pink," well, I think I look ridiculous in pink. Don't wear the pink shirt because they said you look cool and everybody think you look ridiculous.
All those people are saying
rely on you.
Yeah, all those people are saying is just be a little less you, and I can handle it.
Exactly.
Well, then go away.
Damn the torpedoes.
I'm
man.
not living my life so you can handle it.
Be you.
Yeah.
Yes, and do it for you.
Stay
not
true to
for
yourself.
Anybody else, including piercings. And
if you like Nickelback, man, be brave. Say you like Nickelback. Let's do it when you're with yourself or whatever. Like, I don't care. Do what makes you happy.
Just,
headphones in public, of course.
Yeah.
Every time
I don't want to hear
members of that band, they talk about, so when's the next Nickelback? Slipknot.
You're not getting any nickels back. There's no change.
Because all their money from the first record is what paid to promote them.
They must be really old, because like a nickel's worth like less than $1.
Yeah, unless you get like a nickel bag.
They're
back in the old
Canadians,
days
so
or
it's
something.
worth even
about
less.
nickels?
Yeah, maybe.
All right, can we be done?
Yes, we
wrap it
can.
up.
I was gonna. Try
I
to
gotta
wrap
pee.
things up.
Like a Christmas present.
So that's it for this episode. Till next time, here's hoping that your tattoos and piercings heal with ease and without a single issue. And if you're in the Des Moines, Iowa area, we would all love to see if you're tattooing and body piercing needs in the future. Have a good day, everybody. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Be good, guys.